Thanks for tuning into the BoshNRoll channel. Liking and subscribing the channel is free and easy, and it helps me out a lot. If you want to go a little farther with your support, I have Patreon and YouTube membership available, which includes access to the BoshNRoll Discord server, early access to things I'm working on, sideboard plans, cards I'm buying. You could have me play your deck on the channel, and the highest tiers come with individual coaching sessions. If you use the YouTube membership option, you get sweet, unique YouTube badges and emotes for the channel. If you want to play what I'm playing, you can use the code BoshNRoll to support my channel while you shop for cards at tcgplayer.com. And if you're playing on Magic Online, a cardhoarder.com loan account can let you play any deck anytime. If you want to wear your support, there is BoshNRoll merch available. All of these links are in the video description below. Thank you so much for watching. Now let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to another BoshNRoll video. Today I'm playing Legacy, and this is at the request of subscriber Lubed Taco. And Lubed Taco has sent me Jeskai Sharkstill, which it's not going to take a twist of my arm to get me to play Sharkstill. So here we are. This is an extremely classic take on the Standstill archetype. So if you're seeing Legacy for the first time here, Standstill, whenever a player casts a spell, sacrifice Standstill. If you do, each of that player's opponents draws 3 cards. The goal is to get the game to a point where your opponent either has to break this or just loses because they refuse to. So you get a 2-mana Ancestral Recall out of the deal. And the way you do that is by playing a ton of counterspells, a ton of removal, and when the dust settles, you jam this card and reload your hand. And you have Shark Typhoon, which can win the game without casting a spell, because cycling is not casting a spell. So you can make XX flyers without breaking Standstill. Hall of Heliod's Generosity can put Shark Typhoon back on top of your deck because it is an enchantment, and you can just make unlimited sharks and continue to draw cards under Standstill. So that's the big picture. I have made a few small changes to this list, but I've mostly left it intact. Number one, it is 61 cards. Lube Taco sent me a 60 card list, and then a couple weeks later was like, wait, throw an Aether Spellbomb in there. Just play it as the 61st card. So I will. I was asked to do that, you're the boss. Some notes I have about the deck, just looking at it on paper. I haven't played this list yet, but I am familiar with Standstill and Control and Legacy in general. Lube Taco had Palace Jailer in the main deck and 2 Supreme Verdicts in the sideboard. I need a sweeper in my Standstill deck. Like, you're not going to catch up for a 1-for-1 game. Like, you do need an eject button against creature-heavy decks. So I have the Jailer in the sideboard that is potent in a lot of matchups, but Supreme Verdict is going to be generally better. So I have the Supreme Verdict main, Jailer in the board. I also added a Dress Down over the second Force of Negation, because this list, as it was submitted to me, has 0 game against Urza Saga. And Urza Saga is a land that uses activated abilities to produce threats. So Standstill can die pretty quickly doing Urza Saga. Like, if you clear the board, you do everything you're supposed to do, cast Standstill, and they're just like, okay, Urza Saga. You could lose that game pretty quickly. And you need some sort of plan to play against Saga. Dress Down sweeps up any number of construct tokens. There's 0/0s when they don't have any abilities, and they all die. Dress Down has some other applications as well, and there's barely any creatures in our deck, so Dress Down was a nice one. It also pitches to force and cantrips when we're not turning off creatures, so it pretty low cost to put one of these in the deck. Some notes I have, the Saga thing was a pretty big concern. Prismatic Ending. There were 0 copies in the list I was submitted, but there was 1 Council's Judgment. I chopped the Council's Judgment immediately, put in Prismatic Ending. Obviously, Prismatic Ending can't get something like Emrakul or Progenitus off the board, but I think we need to counter the enablers rather than fight the creature there. So Prismatic Ending, you're just going to be happier with in basically all normal games of Magic. This can just get a Chalice of the Void, get a Ragavan, get a Delver, or whatever, all on curve. So Prismatic Ending, I think Prismatic Ending is the death knell of Council's Judgment in Legacy. Council's Judgment was pretty much on the way out anyway, and Prismatic Ending is just a generally better version of that card. If this were my list, I think I would only have 3 Standstills for another Prismatic Ending. Like, I would load up on that sort of removal, but I am going to stay true to Lube Taco's vision of the classic 4 Standstill, lots of counterspells, lots of removal vision. So that I'm going to leave that as it is, even though it's not quite how I would build the deck, but that's okay. It's Lube Taco's deck, not mine. In the sideboard, there is the Red Splash for 3 Pyroblasts, Mindbreak Trap, Monastery Mentor for the juke against creature decks, and then just a bunch of things you'd expect to see in a Legacy control deck. The basic land is for decks where you want Red Blast and they have Wasteland. So decks like Blue-Red Delver, basically, I think is the biggest target for that one. Normally, the Volcanic Island is good enough. Probably won't even bring in the basic mountain against control mirrors. But I will bring in the Pyroblast. Like, if they can't touch my Volcanic Island, I'll just leave that alone. But if they can, I'm going to bring in the basic mountain. And that's the deck. Pretty classic Standstill. I've made some small tweaks where I think they were pretty free to do while maintaining the vision of the deck. And I've left some other things in place for Standstills. And that's the plan. Let's go take our time. On the draw with this Island Ponder hand, I'm going to keep it. I don't know what my opponent's doing. I'm not going to like mulligan for Force of Will or anything specific when I don't know what I'm playing against. This hand is pretty good against fair decks, and Ponder can find some answers. Shark Typhoon and Teferi are both powerful cards at 3 mana, so we just gotta get to 3 mana, and it does appear we're playing against a Delver strategy. Alright, well, Standstill will be completely useless, but Supreme Verdict is probably the best card. So I am going to keep this. It sucks I have to keep that land when I already have so many. But we have a plan here. Gotta make it to turn 4, basically. I left the Supreme Verdict on top of the deck instead of drawing it, in case they are a Grixis Delver that has discard. It's pretty unlikely. Grixis Delver is not popular. And I don't think 3-color Delver decks get basic lands. Like, this is probably blue-red. Unless it's something weird like blue-white, which you see sometimes, but isn't normally a deck. But I hid the Supreme Verdict just in case they can mess with my hand somehow. One super important note here is that none of these lands are basic plains. There's 2 basic plains in the deck. So if they're able to wasteland one of these, see how many tundras there are. There's only 2 tundras. So if they wasteland one of these tundras, then I'm going to have to find a basic plains, which I don't currently have access to, in order to cast Supreme Verdict on time. So I'm playing the Scalding Tarn, passing the turn. It's gotta hope they're not a Stifle deck. Prismatic Ending. Okay, they are a white deck. Alright, I don't know why that my brain got that tickle that they might be blue-white Delver. That's not a normal thing. But here it is. It could be a Jeskai Rag deck. There are a number of those around. So they flipped Prismatic Ending and then shuffled it away. They don't actually want that one. Alright, Moment of Truth. Are you a Stifle deck? I don't want to draw this card. Alright. Basic Plains. Nope. Alright, so we gotta try to fade Wasteland here. And I'm gonna cycle Shark Typhoon with my 3 mana. I'm not gonna jam this Teferi straight into Daze. I can rebuy the Shark Typhoon with Haul later. Okay, they had Wasteland. So we're gonna have to get another look for basic plains, and that delays the Supreme Verdict by a turn. We get a 1/1 Shark that can absorb some damage. Brainstorm might help. And I am definitely just gonna chump here. Absorb the 3 damage. Did what it's supposed to do. Force of Will. Alright. Brainstorm, fix this hand. Please don't have Spell Pierce. Alright, Brainstorm did not really fix this hand. If the Shark Typhoon was still in my hand, I could actually jam Standstill here and cycle Typhoon to trade with Delver next turn and then be completely stable. But that's not actually a line that is available to me right now. I'm going to have to shuffle this, and it delays Supreme Verdict by another turn. Yeah, this is pretty rough, not going to lie. So let me map this out real quick. I don't think the line is there, but I'm going to do the Standstill math. So if I cast Standstill, I go to 14 from the fetch. I go to 11 from their Delver attack. Then I play Tundra. Then I go to 8 from their Delver attack. Then I play Hall of Heliod's Generosity. Then I go to 5 from their Delver attack and put Shark Typhoon on top of my deck. And then I'm stable at 5 with a big Shark Typhoon. But any Wasteland breaks that up, and Wasteland doesn't break Standstill, so yeah, this is... I think Standstill will be better off in my hand being pitched to Force of Will to get my Teferi into play. But those are lines you have to be looking for. Like, there are a lot of defensible back foot standstills. Like, sometimes you just aren't in charge when you have to jam your standstill, and you have to plan, use your life total as a resource, and several turns later, do the thing you want to do. So this second Wasteland is just horrific. This deck is built to play around basic lands, and we're just not capable of doing that right now. But Standstill just got a lot better, because I drew a 1-mana answer to this thing. Alright, let's try to Standstill. Take our time. That's the flavor text of Standstill, by the way. That's why I keep saying take your time. Oh god, do they have Vendilion Click? Oh no, just Hardcast Force. So, options here. I can force back, pitching Jace, probably. I could force pitching the Supreme Verdict, because I'm never casting it. Yeah, I actually think that makes a lot of sense. It's counterintuitive, but like, we're just not going to get there this game. Are they also out of force? Force pitching Daze. Alright. So my Planeswalkers, I can still cast Jace next turn, even if they Wasteland me. Teferi's going to need a white source. So Jeskai confirmed. Ooh. Jealous. And there's the Wasteland. So they pitched a Daze last turn. I think I just have to hope they don't have 2. I could also just Aether Spellbomb this stupid thing. Is that how I want to do this? Or do I just want to jam Jace and hope they don't have Daze? I think the Spellbombing even makes sense. Like, I just lose so hard to Daze. But I think I lose hard if I just Spellbomb too. So I'm going to make the uncharacteristic play into Daze. And bounce Mentor. If they have Lightning Bolt in their hand, that gets to kill the Jace. But that might be able to take them off Mentor for a turn. Alright, they're just redeploying Mentor. That's cool. Deal, 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 deal. Wow, we're untapping with Jace against the Jeskai Delver deck. I'm gonna brainstorm with Jace. Alright, found white mana. Spell Pierce is really good here. I don't think I get to play Myth Realized. Or is Force of Will worse? I could put back Force and Spellbomb. Or Force and Myth Realized. Yeah, I think it's Force and Myth. And then I'm going to play Teferi, bounce Mentor. Now I have basic land set up. And there is a Shark Typhoon in the graveyard to go with this Hall. Okay, this is weird. It's weird that this is working. Oh my god, they just conceded. What the hell? I did not think we were doing that well in the game. They pitched Daze to their Force of Will, and if they Daze Jace, they win the game. But I guess if Standstill resolves, they lose the game. So, all right. I was not expecting that to happen. But we got there. So I want my Supreme Verdict. I want my Red Blast. Some number of them at least. I don't know if I want all 3, but I probably do. They are a Wasteland deck. I think I want Containment, or not Containment Priest, Palace Jailer against them. I want Flusterstorm against them. And I probably want my own Mentor to keep up with the Joneses. So we've got 9 cards coming in. Force of Negation, and I think all of my Force of Wills can come out. Like, you really don't want to be jamming Force of Will against the Daze deck with Spell Pierce and whatever. Like, that's a rough 2-for-1. I can cut some number of standstills too, because this is a deck that's going to put you on the back foot, and you have to be at least close to or be able to achieve parity before you can stand still. 2 more cards gotta go. In this matchup, I'm definitely happy I have Prismatic Ending over Swords to Plowshares. Spell Pierce is good. I actually do like the other Spell Bomb there. It's a good one. And maybe I don't need Dress Down for this matchup. They haven't shown me a Saga. Could also cut Myth Realized. And because so the goal with Myth Realized is you play Myth on turn 1, Standstill turn 2, and this enchantment just slowly gets bigger and bigger over the course of the game, and then you eventually kill them with it. But my role in this game is not really beat down. Like, I'm unlikely to tap out on turn 1. Like, playing into Daze on the draw, plus this card doesn't really interact with their things in combat, so I'm going to hold on to this. Disenchant actually might be something I want. Like, why would you be white? And the answer is probably Stoneblade. Though they're Jeskai, so Ragavan's probably in this deck. I'm gonna hold off on the disenchant, though. I think I might actually want it. We'll see what happens. Okay, so I have all 3 red cards and no red source. Sad times, but I do have Swords of Plowshares off of the basic planes. I'm keeping this hand. You can call me crazy, but I think that I will have time to develop this hand. They have turn 1 Delver again. I have that one answered. Ooh. There's a world where I even end-step Plow, untap, Standstill. Guess we'll see what happens. Delver did not flip. Yeah, curving into a Standstill is a way to recoup this awkward hand. So they land Ponder. I could Plow in response here. I think I want to do that, like, before they find protection for the Delver, if that's what they're looking for. This does let them find a replacement for a Delver. Like, now they know to find another 1-mana threat if they have one. But if they wanted to Spell Pierce that, it would have cost them their shuffle from the Ponder. So I think that if my plan is to Plow this turn, that was a good place to do it. They did not shuffle. Oh, Basic Island, thank you for arriving. I love you. Jamming the Standstill. They'll have to answer this or just let me draw 3. This is a really great time to shove Standstill. It's not often you get to turn 2 Standstill on the draw against Delver. Red Blast coming for sure. Yep. Okay. So now I'm sitting on this wall of Pyroblast without a red source. I do have 2 blue for counter spell now, but that won't matter if they put something into play now. Alright, just a brainstorm. They did not have a shuffle effect or a threat. I do have to expose my land to Wasteland at this point. Just gotta hope they don't have one. They are working through a brainstorm right now, but I don't have anything going on. Extracting my Plows. Yeah, that's fine. That doesn't take a card out of my hand, so I'm just not gonna mess with it. I do have other removal spells in the deck. I'm just gonna do a quick red source count. 1, 5, 6, 7, 11, 12. So I have 12 red sources that I can draw in the deck out of 48 cards. So 1 in 4 cards in my deck right now is a red source. That's not one, but it is a land. I will continue making land drops. And I can put Standstill on top of the deck if they don't do anything this turn. Shit. Ooh, interesting choice. I guess it wasn't that interesting. Taking me off Supreme Verdict and Counterspell is pretty good. Alright, do I roll the dice and put Standstill on top? I guess I don't have to commit to that. I can just go to their end step. I still have mana to activate Hall. Well, definitely don't put Standstill on top. If I draw a white source, I can clean this up. Alright, now we're in the position. There's no plateau in the deck. I can't get, like, Supreme Verdict and Pyroblast. I could just get basic planes, cast my spell, and see what happens. I could get Tundra, just lean in. Yeah, I actually think that that's the better play. Because I already have a good Wasteland target. Might as well diversify my payoffs. They went a few turns without casting a threat, and if they have another one, I think it'll be off the top of the deck. Yeah, Preordain. They bottomed both. That's what you like to see. So I don't have enough mana to put Standstill on top and cast it right now. Ho ho. That I don't... Is this the play? So basically, I can jam this now and just have nothing to go with it, and that's not the play. I'll wait till I have a red source and I can back it up with Pyroblast. Like, I can counterspell something this turn, and if they don't do anything, I can pick up Standstill. Young Pyromancer. Alright, well, counter it on the stack before they can fight over it and get tokens at the same time. They can't spell Pierce or Daze this. They could Fluster if they have Fluster. If they force, they're Hellbent, and Young Pyromancer's pretty bad when you're Hellbent. They knew about this counterspell, though. Like, they did see it off the Surgical, so they must have a plan. Alright, and forcing to Hellbent is kind of a plan. This game is mine to break open or lose, depending on what my next few draw steps look like. Or theirs, I guess. Alright, I'm jamming my Mentor. Let's get ahead here. I have the better version of their creature in play, and I have 4 cards in hand to their 0. However, my 4 cards in hand are extremely reactive, and I can't cast 3 of them. So this draw step to rule them all. If they just draw like Lightning Bolt, I'm wrecked. Yeah, a cantrip is also pretty dangerous. Brainstorm is the worst one for them. Like, they want Preordain in this situation, not Brainstorm. And Ponder is somewhere in between. But just gotta hope that this doesn't work. Right, they're attacking me. They're offering the trade, which they wouldn't do if they had a removal spell. So I'm not going to take the trade. Another creature was the answer. So red source is a banger here. Yes! We're in the money. So I'm going to let their Delver trigger resolve. If they give me any extra information, I'll take it. They did stack this with Brainstorm, so Force of Will's the top of their deck. They can't cast it. They don't have 5 mana. They don't have a second card in their hand. So I think I'm winning this game now. I get to blast their Delver, pick up Standstill, cast Standstill, and then they're behind on board to my Mentors with an empty hand. So Hall of Heliod, pick up the Standstill, and we'll just freeze them out here. I'll win this game eventually from here. Yeah, they see the writing on the wall. We're done here. BoshNRoll wins the match. Grind him out with Standstill. On to the next round. I'm on the play with a turn 2 Standstill. I'm going to keep this. If they are a deck with... If they're like an Aethervial deck, that's rough. If they are a Delver deck, that's actually okay. I have the Plow I can curve up to. Like, Aethervial is like the card I'm worried about right now on this turn 1. Taiga. Taiga might be a little worrisome as well. Okay, so this is going to be an Urza Saga deck. And then the game is, do I think I can do better with my Standstill? Or is it going to be a Saga deck? I guess I'm not even totally sure of that. So I'm going to get a basic Plains and just play Standstill. Like, they could discard a Rootwalla right now in response and get a creature into play that I would have to answer over time with Shark Typhoon. Yeah, okay. I was prepared for this. This Rootwalla is going to get some damage in, but I do have Shark Typhoon. I will hopefully be able to get control of this thing before I'm dead to it. And they can't really do anything else for a while. And pumping the Rootwalla matters. I wish this was Blazing Rootwalla, but it is Basking, unfortunately. As a Blazing Rootwalla, I could answer with Shark Typhoon next turn, but this is going to take 5 mana to get ahead of. I do have the full 4 Shark Typhoons, though, so if I draw 1, I can use it to, like, skip into the next one. I could also just cycle 1 now if I think that... I guess hitting the land drop, like, not having a land drop lined up makes me want to move in now. Yeah, so... live draws in the deck include Hall of Heliod's Intervention, another Shark Typhoon. I think Hall is actually the best draw right now because it is a land that develops my board under Standstill while also representing future Shark Typhoons. But if I start missing land drops against this Rootwalla, I'm in trouble. This backfired pretty quickly. I thought I was okay, but you can see the sweat now. Alright, finding the land is good. I'm gonna use my life total as a resource here. I'll basically go down to like 1 before I start worrying about anything else. Another 3 damage. So I go to 12 here. I'm starting to plan my emergency contingency, which involves if I have to crack my standstill. Uh-oh. So there's a couple ways to do this. I could just do it. I could just take my medicine. I could wait till their end step when they have 7 cards in hand. But oh, this is rough. I think I might have to take. I'll give it another turn. All right. I'll give it 1 or 2 more turns depending on how my draw steps come together. Going to 1, like I said, I would probably do is actually probably a bad idea against this deck because they can burst damage. Like if they just have 7 cards in their hand and then I crack my standstill when I'm at 3 and they're just like discard 2 Vengevines, here they come. I'm in some trouble. Yeah, the fact that they've kept hitting land drops, keeping their hand at a reasonable level is rough for me. Alright, another land. So drawing Shark Typhoon now trades with Rootwalla. I'll give it another turn now. I'll go to 6. I'm not going to go to 3. Even right now, taking these 3 from Rootwalla, putting me to 6, I fetch them at 4, that's dead to a single Vengevine. I'm going to give myself 1 draw step here to find another Shark Typhoon and stabilize with my standstill. If I don't find it, I'm just going to have to bust. Alright, didn't get there. So what does this turn look like now? I think I just have to Swords to Plowshares on their turn. Like, let them commit the 2 mana, and then plow in response, and then hope it's not too bad. Bummer. Basking Rootwalla, ruining games of Magic since 2001. Alright, so here, enjoy all these 3 cards. Hurts. So Rootwalla's gone. Now we gotta navigate this turn. Or are they just gonna go to cleanup and discard a bunch of cards? Oh, Lotus Petal. This is a fast deck. So if Lotus Petal's in this deck, is that a smoking gun that they're Urza Saga? Or is Petal just a card that, like, I don't actually know what they're doing. Just, I will be perfectly clear with you that I don't know what's going on right now. I don't think Basking Rootwalla is the fight. If they actually have Azmoran in their deck, that's probably something I want to remove. But that's not necessarily the case. The cookbook could just be a discard outlet. Right, they do have Azmoran. I'm gonna counter her before she tutors up. Or I could dress down. I think I want to brainstorm first. I want to know what I'm working with. Another standstill is what I'm working with. So, and a Shark Typhoon. Okay, so I don't think dress down is the play, and I don't think this brainstorm is going to be part of the plan either. Or is Snapcaster Mage worse than brainstorm? It's actually close. I think Snapcaster. Okay, Snapcaster's gone. I'll fetch to 5 life. Counterspell this thing. Yeah, the fact that they just have 7 cards in hand is pretty shitty here. They could just play another Azmoran also. In which case having Snapcaster Mage would have been a lot better. Yeah, maybe I'm supposed to let her resolve and then Snap Plow in the end step that eliminates redundant, or that means the legend rule is a lot worse for them. I think I messed that up. Wait, Snapcaster Mage. I've fetched since I brainstormed, so the top of my deck is wild right now. Force of Will, thanks for showing up. Myth Realize is not going to help me because Azmoran can throw food at it. So let's brainstorm. Right, there's Snapcaster. Are you helpful? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I play Teferi, bounce Azmoran, or play Snapcaster, plow Azmoran. Right, so Snap, Plow, Standstill is a line. I don't think Teferi is involved in that line. And Myth Realized is not involved in the line either. Okay, so Snapcaster Mage. Swords to Plowshares. Right, plowing Asmoran. They can kill Snapcaster in response, which I think is fine. Okay, she's gone. I can jam Standstill, go to 1. Alright. I'm at 1. Let's go. If they can make another lizard in response, I'm just dead. Because I can't force it either. Alright. You got me. Yeah, that was tough. The classic betrayed by Standstill. Literally, so that turn 1, if they have Blazing instead of Basking Root Walla, I easily win this game by trading off with Shark Typhoon. If they have neither, I easily win the game. But they did have to have exactly Basking Root Walla, and they did. Like, not mad about it. It's just, that is what had to happen, and it did happen. So, Supreme Verdict, Null Rod are in the deck for sure. I don't think I want Surgical Extraction. Back to Basics looks pretty good. Especially if I'm expecting Urza's Saga out of this deck, which I probably should. Monastery Mentor could keep up with this board. Standstill is dangerous. Myth Realize seems kind of medium here. I like the removal spells. I don't like Force of Negation. Don't really like Force of Will either. What else is important here? Containment Priest. I'm trying to think, like, are they a Vengevine deck, or is this just a food value deck? Should I assume Vengevine is in the deck? Probably. And is Spellbomb actually good? Is Spell Pierce actually good? On the play, Pierce can hit a cookbook, which is actually really good. Do I think Jace is going to be good here? Counterspell, Force. Maybe I'll shave another Force of Will. And then this is my plan. Oh, maybe Teferi is worse than Force. Maybe Palace Jailer is better than Teferi, but I don't think I can trust Palace Jailer against this deck. If they become the Monarch, we lose. So probably not going to do that. They don't fully know what they're doing, which gives them a big advantage in sideboarding. Alright, on the play with a banger. I'm going to keep it. I didn't see a Wasteland out of them. That doesn't mean they don't have it, but it does mean... It means something. I just got to figure out what. Now the spell, like if they just go on Cookbook, it's awkward because I have the Null Rod, which is in the deck to answer Cookbook, but they get one creature out of it in the meantime. So I think I will not Spell Pierce a Cookbook. I will Spell Pierce a Careful Study. That one looks too good. So Tundra, Pierce. Careful Study is countered. Yeah, Careful Study is a cool enabler for Asmoran. Right, that Lotus Petal's good for me. I was debating, like, do I hold up mana or gem Null Rod, but they just made it easy. Stone Rain. Awkward with this Spellbomb in my hand that the Null Rod is also turning that off, but my deck has Brainstorm in it. We'll make it work. Nice. Null Rod. God, I love Null Rod. Really in the market for a Brainstorm here, but we are chilling right now. I'm not gonna run Spellbomb out because I think for now at least, I'd rather have it in my hand to Brainstorm away than have it in play to activate if they can ever remove Null Rod. This is where it would be pretty exciting to draw a Standstill. They're fetching, they're starting to do stuff. Keeping note of their basics and what they fetch for due to back to basics in my sideboard. Determining if that's actually something I want or not. Yeah, there's Vengevine. There goes Vengevine. Swords to Plowshares, that one. How about a Standstill? Let's close the door here. Or a Planeswalker. Shark Typhoon's pretty good too. Now I don't have to plow Vengevine. I can just make a 3/3 Shark and trade off with it. Which is better, I think, because it uses my mana effectively and cantrips, while Swords to Plowshares does not. But if they don't have one, I'm just gonna go at it. I did board in back to basics, so I think I am gonna fetch basic lands off of both of these, just in case. Then I'll make a 3/3 Shark. And drew a Brainstorm, finally paying off with that Spell Bomb I've been sitting on, guarding forever. Brainstorm time. Get rid of Spellbomb, get rid of Supreme Verdict, basic land. So that Brainstorm did not come up with the Jace or Standstill that I was looking for to really pull ahead and bury this game, but it does have a whole lot of removal. So we're not going to die anytime quick. We just got to figure out a way to win the game. I don't need to interact with Rootwalla. So cracking Prismatic Vista. Do I want Plains or Island here? I have a lot of white cards in my hand, but I have 2 white mana also. And Island is the one that chains cantrips together, so I'm going to get an Island. Ponder. Snapcaster Mage Myth realized. I'm going to get Myth. And I'm going to keep these and commit to the grind here. And I am going to keep clocking. Now that I have Myth realized to back up the Shark, I don't want to trade off. I want to win the game. If they've been sitting on a Force of Vigor, they get 2 targets now. That's something I should consider. Like Myth realized and Null Rod. Might be a reason to board out Myth. Don't actually know. I'm not super convinced on that. Faithless Looting's a good one. That gets to load up their graveyard with stuff. Turn on Azmoran. Wow, 2 Daredevils in that hand. If they can put an artifact into play, they just drew 2. That's good stuff. Powerful magic. The other day, I sleeved up and added Oval Chase Daredevil to my Legacy Playables binder, and it felt kind of dirty. Speaking of dirty, look at this. The old Faithless Looting is 1 red, draw 2. The good news is Oval Chase Daredevil isn't really a magic card on its own. Like that, I don't... If they have black mana... Alright, so they can kill my Shark, but I do want to get Azmoran out of here. Oh no, they don't have any food. They can't kill my Shark. Get out of here. But she does pick up another cookbook on the way through, which brings the Daredevils back to their hand. A hollow one, cool. Alright, I mean, maybe I should have let them finish their turn before I just snapped off Plow. I just saw the cookbooks and my brain was like, that's food. But it's not, and it doesn't matter. Like, I think if I would have just held my Plow, cast Supreme Verdict, cleared this whole board, I'm better off this game than what I just signed up for. Though I do have Snapcaster Mage on top of the deck, so I can keep control of all of this. I guess the question is, do I want to snap Ponder and just use this Plow and my actual creatures to control the Rootwalla? Like, is that forward momentum better? And I think that it is. So I'm going to snap Ponder using all blue mana. I'm casting Ponder and not Brainstorm because the cards in my hand are already good. I don't want to move them around. I just want to add to them. Yeah, that was a good Ponder. Don't want any of those cards. Containment Priest is pretty nice. Don't have to worry about Vengevine anymore. I'm going to allow the hollow one. These Faithless Lootings are kind of scary because they can start flashing them back and drawing 2 each time. I'm not going to tap out a Containment Priest right now. Like, I could fire up the Myth and get in for 6, but I've given them so much life off Swords to Plowshares that I'm going to have to... This game's going to be pretty long. I just want to make sure I don't lose in the meantime. All of Heliod is probably my most exciting draw, though Standstill is also near the top of the list. There's that flashback Faithless Looting. This is pretty sweet. I love their deck. Another cookbook, or is that's the same one they tutored up last turn because they used Hollow One to trigger the Daredevils. That makes sense. This Null Rod's been carrying. I think I just deploy Priest while I have mana available to do so. I don't think I'm going to Supreme Verdict this game. If I do, like, Priest will probably do a lot of the work to keep Supreme Verdict unnecessary. There we go. About time. Amy. So now I can bash for 7 with my Flying Shark and my 4/4 Myth. I can make Myth a 5/5. Oh, do you have Red Blast? You hater. Yeah, crap. Shit's weak. Alright, I'm gonna fire up Myth Realized. And they just tapped out of 2 mana, so I can attack with everything. In they come. They can trade off with Snapcaster, that's fine. Or they can just take a gajillion. I could have fired up Myth, made it 5 damage. It has a 3 mana ability to put a lore counter on it. But I think representing that I have something is probably going to be better. There's the flashback looting, the other looting. I'm not getting cheesed out by Vengevine, at least not without some extra work. Like, they have to kill the priest first. Discarded 2 Root Wallas. So 2 of their 5 cards in hand are Overchase Daredevil, so they functionally have 3 cards in hand. That is a lot of creatures on the board, though. They're getting in with the 1. I don't think they're going to pump it. I think they need their pump on defense. Yeah, alright. It was true. Oops, should have charged that in the end step. I was busy doing combat math. But yeah, that was a free charge that I missed. Alright, so Prismatic Ending. Do I even care about a Root Walla? It makes Myth bigger. They already... Alright, yeah, if I... Okay, yeah, if I Ending, then they can't double block Myth because it's too big. They couldn't double block Myth anyway. Alright, Myth is firing up. I'm getting in with the... I can't get in with Snapcaster. I could attack with Snapcaster and Priest. Do I have forced blocks if I do that? I think I did. Yeah, okay. That was awfully honest of them. They've conceded. But, so, if I attack with everything... 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so I actually had a forced block on Myth realized. And so I could have attacked with everything. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 2 with just Root Wall in play. Yeah, that was a really honest concession of them. They should have waited for me to attack first. But alright, that was a fun game. So Myth ended up being pretty good, but that doesn't mean I want both of them. I spent that whole game wishing I had Standstill when there was one in my sideboard. But again... Did I get to that point because I had powerful sideboard cards that kept me ahead for Standstill? And I think the answer is probably yes. Surgical Extraction is a lot better than I thought it was. Knowing that they have the whole Daredevil thing, which I probably should have known they were doing. Like, I think in my brain I knew that they had Daredevil because they had Cookbook, but I didn't consider the implications of careful study and... Faithless Looting with those cards as well. Like, that's pretty sick. So what changes? Do I just get rid of Force of Will? Am I just betting that none of their cards are worth 2 cards? Is that the game we're playing? Is Spell Pierce better than Flusterstorm? Pierce can get cookbooks. Flusterstorm is better at countering the other things. The looting effects. Does Dress Down do anything important? Like, Hollow One's still a 4/4, Azmoran's still a 3/3. It can't machine gun with foods. It also doesn't tutor if this is in play. They can still pump Root Wallas in response to this, and they keep the buff. So, maybe Dress Down doesn't need to be in the deck, but taking haste off of Vengevines seems pretty decent. Oh, and we're still acknowledging the possibility they're a Saga deck, which is, I think, seems less likely, but I still want to give it some respect. So I'm doing this. I'm going to keep this hand. Island Ponder keep. By the way, BoshNRoll merch is available in the video description below. You can buy a shirt that says Island Ponder keep. Opponent's mauling to 4. We take those. Volcanic Island Cookbook is the start. That's a pretty good start. Wish I could have spell pierced it, but I was on the draw. I'm going to play the Scalding Tarn because I'm probably going to fetch Tundra first. And I want to save the Flooded Strand to get basic planes, if that's the case. Okay, so this is just food. They're not actually gaining any advantage off of it. And I'm ready to spell pierce a looting effect. I can plow an Azmoran. Yeah, this is getting spell pierced. If they're going to show me that they have the Daredevil and they mull to 4, like, I'm not messing around with this. Wow, they're also a Daze deck. That's cool. Well, sure. So we know their hand right now is Volcanic Island Daredevil. They're going to discard Daredevil to Faithless Looting, I'm sure. And they still have their land drop for the turn, so they can replay that Volcanic Island. And 1 card left. What do we got? Careful Study. Okay, so they're just going like full YOLO, put everything in the graveyard. Just mill 2. Interesting. Alright, they're in top deck mode. Weird stuff going on over there. It's time for a ponder. Mentor Plow. So I think I do want Mentor. Like, that can get this game over with pretty quick. And then I'll play Flooded Strand. I'm probably going to draw the other Plow, but we'll see what happens this turn. So if they draw, they can discard like literally any card to get their Daredevil back. But from Hellbent, that's significantly less scary than it would be otherwise. So I'm going to draw the Plow, shuffle away the land, and I'll get Basic Plains this time. I could hold up for a turn, or I could just shove. The way that this goes wrong is if they... I guess it can't go wrong because in order to discard a card to cast Azmoran, they would have to draw Azmoran and discard Azmoran. Like, I don't know what 1 card off the top of their deck can improve their situation. And discarding a Rootwalla to make a food gets the Daredevil back in their hand while continuing to produce or add to their board state. So that's a way they can recoup this card advantage. But they're not in a good spot right now. And now it's time to go to Mentor Town. Teferi and Dress Down. I want both of those. Don't shuffle the library. Play Teferi. So now Madness cards are turned off. Madness is a trigger that casts the spell, and you can't cast a sorcery when there's a trigger on the stack. So Teferi just hard shuts Madness down. I'm not sure if giving them a card in their hand was the correct play. Like, now they actually can cast Looting and loot away that cookbook. Yeah, that might have been worse than just not activating or not minusing Teferi. Could have just plussed it. Okay, glad I minused. If they're gonna rip the perfect answer to Teferi, glad I got my value where I could. Oh, that's actually insane. I messed that up. I shouldn't have given them an artifact to cast. Yeah, alright. I have not played this game perfectly. Hopefully I'm far enough ahead that it doesn't matter, but that's not an excuse. So I could Dress Down to push damage and draw a card. Is that something I want to do? Or do I want to respect the possibility that they draw Azmoran? Yeah, I think I want to hold on to my Dress Down. I have spells I can cast. But they are loading up foods now. Yeah, that was pretty bad. I think I should have minused on nothing for Teferi. Like, I think drawing the card was right, but giving them the artifact to... I did think about them looting. I didn't think about the fact that this is a self-contained system with the Oval Chase Daredevil. I discarded 2 Rootwallas. Wish I had Teferi, but it's okay. I can just plow both of these, make a zillion monks. I could also just plow one of them on my own turn, and that pushes for more damage than plowing them now. Is that even true? So getting a monk now versus being able to attack with all my monks next turn. I can get 1 monk now and then pump all my monks next turn. Is this lethal with Dress Down if I get them both now? So we're doing math. Oh, we don't even have to do the math. They're already dead. Let's do the math anyway. So if I plow in the end step, I have Mentor plus 4 monks. That's 6 damage. Dress Down is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and they're at 13. So they weren't dead in the end step. If I just plow one now, untap, or if I plow them both and don't draw a spell, I would have 3 monks, or I'd have 4 monks, that's 6. I'm attacking for 6. If I plow one in the end step, I have these monks, and then I plow on my turn, I'm attacking for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it does more damage. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I have lethal if I plow one in the end step, untap, plow the other, and then cast Stress down. That is actually the 13 damage I'm looking for. So we did have lethal here. They didn't know it, they just packed it up, but we did have a lethal line as long as we sequenced the spells correctly and actually did the math. Nice, 2-0, next round. We're about halfway through the video, so let me just remind you that if you like this deck and you want to try it out, you can use the code BoshNRoll to support the channel while you shop for cards at tcgplayer.com, and you can play any deck anytime with cardhoarder.com loan account on Magic Online. These links are in the video description below. Now back to the league. On the play, in round number 3, I think this hand is fine. I'm going to keep it. We can curve Spell Pierce into Counterspell and then start dropping Sharks. Like, there's no cantrips, like no Brainstorm or Ponder, but I think that's okay, because Shark Typhoon will start cantripping later on. I don't think Mox Diamond is the Spell Pierce target. I'd rather hit the Exploration or the Valakut Exploration or the whatever is coming. Crop Rotation. Yeah, so here's the Spell Pierce. I could also let them have this, but no, because I can curve Spell Pierce up into actual Counterspell, I'll be able to Counterspell a Valakut Exploration or whatever next turn. This is scary though, because lands these days is an Urza Saga deck. The interaction between Thespian Stage and Urza Saga is pretty good, so it's worth building decks around. I'm going to save my Flooded Strand. Prismatic Vista and Flooded Strand are the same card in this main deck, except that Flooded Strand can get a duel if I feel like I need it, and Prismatic Vista can't. Generally, they're both on basic land duty, and there is no basic mountain in the deck, so I'm doing this. I'm not going to fetch here. A quick Merit Lage is kind of concerning. I can tread water with Shark Typhoons for a few turns, but I am going to need an answer to that. One of the plows to fairies or ending. Jace. They all answer Merit Lage. Yep, there it is. So gotta make my sharks do the work here. So I can cycle a shark now, and if they have... Okay, I do like cycling the shark now, and here's why. So if I wait, they make Merit Lage in the end step, I make a shark, surprise, haha, and then they cast Punishing Fire. And I'm dead anyway. But if I make a shark now, if they fire it now, then they don't get to make Merit Lage this turn. If they wait to fire it on their turn, I have the backup shark or counterspell to continue blocking. Okay, so Force of Negation is pretty good against Punishing Fire. And I have the draw step. This shark is going to get me a draw step. And then this shark will cycle and get me another draw step. So I basically have 3 looks at an answer to Merit Lage, which I do play a lot of. Regular lands usually doesn't have Sajiri Step, so I shouldn't have to worry about the Pro Blue. And even if they do have Sajiri Step, they have to use Crop Rotation to get it, which is a card I can counter. Unless it's just in their hand. But I don't think that's where this game's going to go. So we'll force some negation of Life from the Loam so fast here. Okay, so exile that. Alright, deck, let's answer this Merit Lage. We've come this far. Field of the Dead, backup plan. Ponder. Okay, so mixed bag here. I can cast Ponder, try to find an answer to Merit Lage, or I can cycle my shark holding up Counterspell and just tread water another turn. I think I want to tread. Yeah, I think that using the shark does the same thing, and yeah, okay. I'm going to tread water. I can make a 1/1 shark. It doesn't need to be any bigger. 1/1 blocks the Merit Lage the same as a 1919 does. But I do need to fetch. Actually, I don't need to fetch, but I want to fetch, right? No, I want to keep my lands if I can keep them. If I don't have to cast Counterspell, then I would rather keep both lands available for the Ponder. Tread in water. Sharks are so good. And since they couldn't remove the shark, I have Counterspell up if they have a follow-up like Valakut Exploration. Do I care about actual exploration at this point of the game? I don't think that's my priority right now. Just gotta hope they don't have another loam. They're tapping 2 mana. Damn it. Alright. I think I have to counter this. Yeah, I can't just let them be loaming. And I think I do need to get Tundra here. There's only one Force of Negation in the main deck, and I already used it. But, like, Snapcaster can refire it if I can deal with this Merit Lage in the meantime. Alright, triple Ponder. Come on, guys. I get to see most of the deck here. Jace is a good one. Alright, there's Volcanic Island, cast Jace, bounce Merit Lage, and I think I want to Ponder again. Force of Will. What do you do? I can force a loam. Don't think I actually want to do that, but I will put the force in my hand just in case there's something I do need to force. Like, I will force a Punishing Fire. Like, the Shark Typhoon on top means that I don't have to force this loam. Like, they can make another Merit Lage, and that's okay. They did find a Wasteland, which is a little scary. But if they spend time wasting me, that's time they're not making Merit Lage. So I can deal with that slowly but surely. Yeah, there's the Merit Lage. And then Jace is gonna Brainstorm. Though, should I Ponder first? I guess is the question. I'm looking for, like, Snapcaster Mage is the best card that I have. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I don't think it's actually going to line up well at all at this point. I'm going to Brainstorm with Jace. That's a lot of cantrips. So I don't think I want Brainstorms right now because all the cards are good. I want to get rid of the cards. I'm looking for different specific answers now. Do I want this land? I don't think so. I found Snapcaster Mage. That is one of the cards I was looking for. So how does this work? I cycle Shark Typhoon, block. They make another Merit Lage. And at some point, this Life from the Loam just gets through me. I'm trying to figure out if there's a turn or an opportunity anywhere that I get to counter this Merit Lage when they're not representing. Okay. Teferi actually helps a lot in that regard. I was supposed to put Tundra on top there. Whoops. Okay, so Teferi bouncing Exploration does slow them down, but I need to be alive that long, which is the hard part. Alright. Yeah, the Exploration, machine gunning, the combo into play, but if they're deploying the combo every turn, then they're not playing the Wastelands, which is the angle of this deck I'm extra worried about. I just found Punishing Fire. A little worried about that too. Alright, 1/1 Shark. Block. They're gonna do what now? Probably just reload the combo again. Alright, so they reload their combo. So I actually have to answer this Merit Lage and the next one. So I'm gonna need... There's not a Swords of Plowshares in my graveyard. So I can play Teferi, bounce Merit Lage, and then Brainstorm with Jace. And I'm tapping my non-basic lands because I can't trust them. So Teferi, send Merit Lage out of here. I'm just digging as deep as I can right now. Brainstorm with Jace. Alright, Swords of Plowshares is a good one. Tundra is not so good. I don't need 3 Force of Wills. So here's this. Then I can play Myth Realized. It's a win condition, quote unquote. Alright, so Myth. Alright, so here's how this is gonna go. They're gonna make Merit Lage. I'm gonna plow the Merit Lage. Then I'm gonna Force of Will their Loam this turn, and then I'll snap Force of Negation Loam the next turn, and Jace will take over the game. I just need them not to have a Grove of the Burn Willows along the way. Or they can notice that I'm starting to get ahead of what they're doing, and they can just loam up Field of the Dead and just start making zombos. I'm actually more worried about that if they figure out what's going on here. Right, they did not make Merit Lage. They have figured out what's going on here. They dredged Loam, found another Punishing Fire. I don't think I can start letting them make land drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that'll get them up to the requisite number. It'll take 2 turns to get there, but they will have Field of the Dead active. There's no moat in my deck. I'm just going to counter this. Start getting counters on Myth. Hopefully they don't have another one. I already exiled one. Okay, Maze of Ith. Blast Zone. Blast Zone's actually pretty good. Blast Zone will eventually win this game for them. I'm going to fetch a basic Plains in the end step and charge up Myth. I need this Snapcaster. That is the whole plan here. All right, another Snapcaster is pretty great. Plus Teferi. I think I need to start plussing Jace, though. Blast Zone. Like, how do I actually win this game? I'm not sure that I can, honestly. Prismatic Ending. Their Spell Bomb. Like, it's not good. This, I am pretty far from anything resembling good shape right now. Like, the Field of the Dead's gonna get me. I have everything else covered. I can't play Standstill because then they just make zombies and disrespect me. So I think I put back Standstill and Vista here, or Standstill and Plow. But if I put back Plow and they pop their Blast Zone on 1, then they can make Merit Lage. Yeah, maybe I just put the Vista back for now. If I can trick them into popping Blast Zone on 1, that's actually pretty great because then my Planeswalkers get to hang out. But I don't think they're going to fall for it. And they have Maze of Ith, so I can't even clock them. Yeah, I think they have this game pretty well under control. Without my sideboard cards, without Back to Basics, without Graveyard Hate, this is really tough. They didn't charge their Blast Zone in the end step. That's pretty cool. So I'm going to snap Force of Negation. And they've been dredging basically the whole game. So unless their opening hand had 3 Loams in it, this should find a target. Or this should stop them from loaming for a while. They haven't turned over a 3rd Loam with their dredging yet. They do have Wasteland in their hand. So they make a zombie. I'm not sure if they even want to waste me. So I can plow the zombie. Or I could draw a card with Spell Bomb. Or I could bounce the zombie. Or I could leave the zombie alone for now. I think I'm going to leave it alone. And plus Teferi. I think I still have to brainstorm with Jace. Though I'm not even sure what I'm looking for at this point. It's all bad news. I can't even really play this Standstill. What does Snapcaster do? I could Snap Ponder. I think that's probably worth doing. Holding up Counterspell doesn't do anything here because I'm just dying to land drops. I guess if I could control the number of lands they can drop, I can beat some zombies here and there, as long as they don't have, like, Loam rolling. I don't shuffle my library. Actually, I think that... Nope. Nope. I was like, I can actually just jam Standstill here. But I can't, because they still have this Blast Zone on 1. Like, the Spell Bomb I do need to answer. Merit Lage. And if they pop their Blast Zone and then make Merit Lage, and I have to pop my Standstill to plow, it's all bad. Stage is copying field 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So they get more fields this way. They still don't have more lands to drop necessarily. And I will trade off Snapcasters with zombies if I have to. Don't think I have to yet. Okay, I think it's time to start plussing them with Jace. That's the only way I'm going to win this game. No. And I don't get to cast the Standstill. Like, they're just going to win this game without casting spells. So they can Thespian Stage and make another Field of the Dead. This is terrifying stuff. I have one Supreme Verdict in the deck that can clear out some number of zombies. Alright, they have a second Blast Zone that's currently on 0, which kills all their zombies. But in charging it up and destroying other things makes sense. Okay, so they move that up to 2. So that can clear the Snapcasters, or they can just keep going up to clear Jace eventually, which is probably a better plan. They get 2 more zombies. I can Prismatic Ending as an instant if I need to. So I'm not worried about Merit Lage here. I have Plow for that as well. They started to tap mana, but I think that clearing my Snapcasters and trying to get me in combat is a huge mistake. I think they should just charge their Blast Zone to 4 and kill Jace outright, because then I don't really know how I win this game. I'm just going to charge up the Myth a little bit in the end step. I don't think that's what this game's going to be about, but I'm going to do what I can. Right now, honestly, this game is about trying to make sure I'm ahead on clock going into game 2. Just make sure I don't waste too much time losing. I have to Brainstorm now. They can kill Jace next turn anyway. It's not gonna win the game, and I gotta get rid of these standstills. They're just really, really bad. Alright, they charge their Thespian Stage Blast Zone up to 1. That can kill Myth and Aether Spell Bomb. They found Grove of the Burn Willows. That's bad. It's also bad. Everything's bad. Wow, this game 1 is horrific. We had a really cool early set of turns where we danced around that Merit Lage for a long time. Like, we would have beat Depths pretty easily, but this is not Depths. This is a completely different game. I can also use Spell Bomb to pick up a Snapcaster, which is a cool trick. Though I'm out of Force of Negation, so it doesn't really matter. Which Blast Zone was that? That was the one on 2. So that can clear my Snapcasters. So I'm going to Spellbomb my own Snapcaster. That answers more zombies than Spellbombing a zombie. So Snapcaster dies. Are they going to go after the Myth as well? Because that's a 7/7 blocker. They lose their Exploration if they do that. They could have responded to my Spellbomb with a Punishing Fire. Or no, they can't, because I have Teferi in play. Duh. They're attacking me with everything. Alright, so make this into a 7/7. They're going to blow their other Blast Zone here. Okay, so Myth Realized is dead. And I'm going to fetch now, because I don't want those 2 standstills on top of my deck. Get another white source. There is not currently a spell worth casting in my graveyard. So I want to Brainstorm first. Put back Myth and Tarn. Plow. Snapcaster. I'm going to Brainstorm again. All of this is just desperately treading water, which I've been saying for several turns, but it's still the truth. Block. And I can Plow the other 2. I still have a Plow left over for the Merit Lage. I just pulled ahead on clock, by the way. We're doing it. If by doing it, I mean staying alive barely. Okay, so now they have actually used up their Blast Zones. So now I can try to control this board again, though Punishing Fire is a huge monster beating. Yeah, them finding the 2 Punishing Fires on the turn where I was able to get control of the board state. I mean, that's why this deck is great. Oh no. Bajuka Bog. It's alright, I've used my Snapcasters. They're attacking Jace, so I'm going to Swords to Plowshares one of these. And probably let the other one connect. I don't have enough white sources in the deck to make Myth a 3/3 right now. So Jace can take 2. I can Force of Will one of the Punishing Fires to keep Jace alive, and then Myth will be pretty big next turn. Jace is at 2. Counter that. Myth goes to 2. Jace stays alive for a turn. If they have a red source, they can cast another fire. Fetch. I think my last fetchable land. Yep. Not many cards left in my deck here, folks. And might as well charge up Myth. I think my Supreme Verdict is still in the deck, though. I am going to Brainstorm with Jace. Okay, the standstill is actually pretty dope here, which is weird because I've been throwing it away in shame for the last 1,000 turns. Prismatic Ending. I still can't cast Prismatic Ending. They can still make Merit Lage at will, so the standstill is not dope. Alright, whatever. I'm moving in. I'm not winning this game anyway. Might as well give them a chance to mess up. Like if they have just forgotten that Merit Lage is a thing they can do, that helps me. If they just... Alright, yeah. They had Merit Lage up that turn, but didn't go for it. I am going to lose Jace if they just turn all their zombies sideways, but this at least makes the Punishing Fire less appealing. Though with only 15 cards left in my deck, they could just try to deck me with Standstill. So I'm going to lose Jace here. They're going to lose 2 zombies. I'm going to make a gigantic creature. Not that it matters because they have Maze of Ith. Animate my Myth. Block 2 of the zombies. Jace dies anyway. I would have conceded this game by now in real life when we share the clock. And you should too. Like, if you can't win game 1, try to win the sideboard games. But on Magic Online with the chess clock, that's the reason I'm still playing right now. And they tap their Maze of Ith to save a zombie last turn, but attacking for 5 is not going to win this game. Still not interested in making Merit Lage under Standstill. In Field of the Dead is just more valuable at this point, and their Thespian Stage is a Field of the Dead. They're just making their attacks. They are going face. They don't care about Teferi. Try to whittle these down where I can. Teferi gets to bounce 1 now. Not that it matters. Zombies are coming in. Make my 2 blocks again. I know 2 of their 4 cards in hand are Punishing Fire. Doesn't seem likely, but there is a possibility that they just don't have a land drop 1 turn. Alright, Glacial Chasm's pretty good. Yeah, that's more zombies. So I block, take 6. I am actually dead to the zombies at this point. So plus Teferi. I think that going on their turn makes more sense. Like, I can Prismatic Ending a zombie after blocks. I guess I should do it before blocks. Just trying to think of how to make this game last another turn. How to make them click some more. Animate my monk. Exile a zombie. They get to draw 3. Exile that. And then I can brainstorm right now as well. See if I find another shark to block with. Because they have the 2 Punishing Fires that even if I go to 1 are still lethal. Dress Down doesn't do anything. Supreme Verdict does. Maybe I should have done all this before. Alright. I go to 1, I can counterspell one of the things and lose to the other one. Yeah, I should have not activated my Myth yet. Played a Supreme Verdict as an out. Yeah, so I'm going to lose to the Punishing Fires here. Oh, they're playing Valakut Exploration. That's cool. That also kills me though, so it's not cool. I lied. Nothing is cool about that. They have so many red sources too. Alright, Brainstorm in response to the Punishing Fire. Pretty sure this is lethal. I'm basically out of answers to this thing, and they have another one. So they're going to pay for my Spell Pierce, then they're going to win the game. But they are at 6.5 minutes to my 9, going into game 2. So I did what I had to do game 1. Again, I cannot stress enough. You should have conceded this game about 9 turns ago if this was paper. Just give yourself time to win the sideboard games. Just Magic Online has different rules. It's a different world. Now I get back to basics, Surgical Extraction, Disenchant. Not sure if I want Supreme Verdict. I actually do like Mindbreak Trap. I can just hard cast it at some point to exile Punishing Fire or a Loam. Like, I don't think they're going to play 3 spells in a turn very often, but I am going to have 4 mana eventually, I hope. I might like Palace Jailer too. They don't have a whole lot of ways to deal combat damage. I like Mentor for the cheese factor. And I don't like Force of Will. I like Spell Pierce on the play. I don't like it on the draw. I guess it's still fine on the draw, but it's a whole lot worse. Like, Spell Pierce on the play versus Flusterstorm on the draw, I think, is a reasonable split. Then Spellbomb's good. It just sits in play and answers Merit Lage. Dress down makes Merit Lage lose flying, but I don't think that's a key interaction. Because all of my answers are exile and bounce anyway, so Merit Lage losing indestructible doesn't matter. Standstill is actually just completely heinous in this matchup. Their whole deck is built on making land drops, which are not spells. The entire deck. It's crazy. I think games where I want Supreme Verdict are going to be games I'm losing, so I'm not going to bring in the second one, but I will leave in the first. My opponent said in the chat that was a great game 1. They hope game 2 is shorter, and I said it's going to have to be. Do I want Flusterstorms to just like tread water against Loams? If I want that, is it better than Supreme Verdict? Maybe. So I think I need the Supreme Verdict out of respect for zombies. Alright, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm not convinced it's 100% right. I think there might be a world where, like, if I had another minute and a half to think about it, I would figure out that Flusterstorm is better than Verdict. I'll keep this hand that has Brainstorm and a fetch land in it. Spell Pierce is pretty dope on the play. Like, if this was Flusterstorm, it wouldn't counter Exploration here. That doesn't counter Exploration anyway. That's not Exploration. All of my removal is still in the deck. So I can Brainstorm here. Alright, Palace Jailer's a long way off. Not finding a land here is pretty punishing. Shark Typhoon. I think I can send that one for a while. Alright, answered the 1-drop, but I am tapped out, and let's see what happens here. Wow, that was rough. So they went Mox Diamond, land, choke. That was a strong follow-up to what I just offered. Yeah, maybe I'm just supposed to leave up Spell Pierce, let them have that stupid elf for a turn. Yeah, now I just lose to crop rotation. Ouch. I think I might have fucked this up, team. They're loaming back 2 lands. If they're on a loam strat, this isn't the worst. I mean, it's still the worst. Okay, that buys me a lot of time. They found Wasteland in their graveyard. I need them to not find Dark Depths for a while, basically. I did board in my Disenchant, so I have the out to choke that I play. They don't really have the time to play a Loam Forever game. Ugh. I'm going to discard Counterspell because I'm never casting that card. Yeah, I think if I just leave them with their elf and play for the turn, hold up Spell Pierce going into their turn. Yeah, I just got impatient. I don't know. I worked so hard to make the game last longer in game 1 and then just threw away game 2. And this is not result-oriented thinking, by the way. This is actually just definitely the wrong play. Like, I don't care about that elf. They can activate it once, whatever. It's really not a big deal. There's that, the world's saddest back to basics. If I were actually hitting land drops, this would not be so bad right now. But the fact that I'm also missing land drops on top of everything else that's occurring. And there's a Dark Depths. Alright, well, I get to waste even more time now with the second plow. Oh, they didn't make Merit Lage in my end step. They don't even care. Probably means they're setting up some giant protection for it that I can never beat. They bogged me. It's fine. Hey, deck, how about some lands? Jesus. Seriously, look at this board state. Even if I had just hit my land drops and just cast back to basics at some point, then we're both stuck. And the clock just wins the game. But instead, we're treading water here forever. They're looking for, I think, Field of the Dead to win this game. All right, I mean, Force of Will is among the least bad cards I've drawn lately, because at least it has some text. All right, here's Merit Lage. I can plow this in the end step, and then I don't have to go to discard. Mostly what this game is highlighting is how important the cantrips are to these blue control decks. Like, I'm missing land drops, but I had Ponder, Brainstorm, Brainstorm to find land drops, and I'm just unable to make them. Okay, I get it, deck. I'm not drawing any lands. Right, they're copying Blast Zone. So I have to discard. I think it's Jace at this point. Like, what is Jace going to do for this game? Shark Typhoon could at least possibly block Merit Lead someday. For Shot and Port. Okay, now I lose. That's what they were waiting for. Now they have enough mana. Oh, but they can't port me and make Merit Lead this turn, because that was their land drop. So I need another basic plains to keep this game going. Yeah, no chance of that, though. Right, Dark Depths is in play. If I draw a plains this turn, I can make the game last a little longer. Nope, no chance. Alright, we're dead. I'm not tilting off, but I'm extremely unsatisfied with that game. I need... And it's not because I got unlucky, because I didn't get unlucky, I just played bad. If I leave up Spell Pierce for their choke, I easily win that game, every single time. Like, just let them have their stupid elf. I don't care. Go ahead, activate it. Make sure I don't get cheesed out by choke first, but I let them cheese me after I did all that work in game 1 to run their clock down, settle in for a long game, and my only job when they have 5 minutes on their clock is don't get cheesed out, and I let myself get cheesed out. So, super disappointed in my own play for that one, but GG's. My opponent did play really well. On the draw, in round number 4, Island Ponder, keep it, buy a shirt. My opponent's on 5. I have Force of Will. I have Island and Ponder, plus another land. Opponent's on 5. Let's see if they're cheesy or just unlucky. Okay, so I can try to Force of Will this jerk. I think I actually want to do that. Like, do I think they kept Daze? Alright, I am going to force pitching Supreme Verdict. If they daze me, they daze me, but I don't have a different answer to this Ragavan. Okay, so they're down to 1 card in hand. All in on Ragavan. Let's draw Swords to Plowshares right now. Right now, deck. Alright, didn't get there. So I can fetch Tundra and maximize my chance to cast Plow next turn, or I can fetch Island and hope to string together land plus Plow over the next several turns. Do I think they would have kept Wasteland as a 1 card in their hand? Alright, I'm gonna follow my rules. I'm gonna be careful here. So they can, if I keep this, I draw Flooded Strand. They steal my Force of Will. I can't let them have my Standstill. That would beat me outright. Alright. I'm not going to shuffle my library. Although this line isn't perfect, it does make sure that Ragavan doesn't gain any card advantage. Like, they get to ramp, but they're not, like, stealing a Ponder in the blind, which is how they pull back into this game. Alright, ooh, playing that land was so bad. They want to put that land back and turn it into a spell. That was not great. Now they're Brainstorm locked. I guess I don't know if they're locked, but Brainstorm is happening. So I can Brainstorm looking for an answer. I could Dress Down just to tread water for a turn. I actually like that. Yeah, I'm just going to Dress Down in their upkeep. Alright, upkeep, Dress Down. Alright, Daze was their last card, sure. Alright, so Ragavan gets to connect again. That Daze would have countered the Snapcaster Mage too, so I actually think that was the right bait. Alright, don't care about Spell Pierce. Delver, okay. Time for Swords to Plowshares. Shark Typhoon is great. That kills Ragavan. I'm in for that. I have the Haul. And then I have to find a different answer to Delver. Please don't reveal Lightning Bolt right now. Okay. Didn't reveal. So I fetch basic plains, make a 1/1 shark, block Ragavan. Okay, here we go. This is where we start to take over. There is like some small world where they tried to fake me out. If like their top card was Stifle and they just didn't want me to know it, they could have not revealed to their Delver then blown me out with Stifle. But I just don't think that they're living in that world. So I could Snap Ponder and still have white up to Plow. I could Brainstorm. Because, like, if I find... Force of Will's bad, so I do have cards worth getting rid of here. Alright, so another Shark Typhoon. And the standstill is actually pretty good. So I put back Brainstorm Plains in that order. I jam Standstill, Brainstorm Plains, land, Standstill. Now, even if they have Wasteland, I can still, my Shark can still trade off with Delver next turn because I have 4 mana, and then they're under Standstill against a Shark Typhoon with Hall of Heliod looping. Alright, I think we're good here. I just realized that Hall of Heliod can also pick up Dress Down. It's a pretty sweet interaction. That was not consciously in my brain when I added the card to the deck. I'm going to make a 2/2 Shark, because it's the same as a 3/3 Shark for blocking Delver purposes, and leaves a mana up, in case I need to play around Daze. Okay, so I draw 3 cards, or if I need to cast Swords to Plowshares. Alright, this plays me into Daze that I probably shouldn't have done, but I do have the Force of Will. Oh wait, I know their last card is Force of Will. Alright, we're good. We're good. Standstill, too good. 2/2 Shark, save the day. Alright, they're just scooping it up. They've seen enough of that, and that's probably the right call. Alright, so we beat Blue-Red Delver on a mull to 4. So, let's be proud of that one. Put it in the bank. Every win doesn't have to be proud. you could just take them. That's allowed. Okay, so I want all of these cards for sure, and then Mentor and Palace Jailer are in the maybe pile. So Force of Negation's out. Don't love Force of Will. Standstill is risky, especially on the draw. Dress Down, does that do anything? I'm pretty sure Dress Down stops Murktide Regent from arriving with counters on it. So, like, that is something that's kind of a big deal. Jace is usually not great in matchups with Daze, Pyroblast, and Lightning Bolt in them. So I can give Jace some consideration. I just gotta make sure I can still actually win the game without him. And they aren't really capable of removing a 4/4 Myth Realized. So I bring in a million answers to creatures. Murktide Regent, I can put stuff in front of. Myth Realized trading off with Ragavan, I actually really like that. Do I want the Jailer? Do I want the Mentor? Are the last remaining questions. Dress Down is a cuttable. Standstill, I could go even lower on Standstill. Like Standstill for Jailer is a play I could make. Leave 1 Standstill in the deck just in case. Then how am I winning this game? My Sharks have to do it. But I guess when the dust settles, it's fine. Like, so many other creatures have flying that Monastery Mentor doesn't turtle up the way it used to against Delver. Alright. Yeah, if this were Rug Delver with Tarmogoyfs and stuff, I would have the Mentor in, but they have, like, Delver, Dragon Rage Channeler, Murktide Regent. Mentor doesn't line up well against those. Alright, this hand is chock full of removal. It can get my basic mountain and a basic something else. Like, I can get plains and mountain, or island mountain, and we'll just see how this lines up. If they have Rag, I have to start with plains, I guess. Alright, so I can take a hit from Ragavan to make sure Swords to Plowshares resolves. Or I can just shove into Daze and hope they don't have it. I am going to take a hit from Ragavan, I think. Yeah, I'm going to take a hit from Ragavan, which means I want to lead on this land, because this is the one that can be red or blue. This is the only one that can get a basic white source. I can just determine based on what they do this turn whether I'm going to need red or blue more. Yep, don't get dazed, folks, if you don't have to. Getting hit by Ragavan is not the end of the world. This is not Dreadhorde Arcanist. It frequently just hits a land and doesn't do anything. And it still ramps. Like, saying it doesn't do anything isn't accurate, but it doesn't do everything that they want it to. So I'm going to wait for their upkeep and go for Swords to Plowshares. And I drawing the extra Scalding Tarn here is perfect, because that can get the red or blue, whichever one I don't need this turn. Alright, they fetched in response, and then Ragavan died. Cool. Deal. And then they passed the turn without a threat in play. Also a deal. Right, so now I just have to hit land drops. My hand is full of gas, Just need to make sure it stays gassy. So I can just spread out my basics and make a shark. Or I can try to brainstorm in this end step, which will probably hit a pyroblast. I think I'm going to spread them out and make a shark. Because if they pyroblast the shark, I still get to draw a card. If they pyroblast brainstorm, that turns on mana and spells that are currently stuck in their hand. Basic mountain. Here we are, the full spread. A 1/1 shark is also relevant against Ragavan. Like, a dashed Ragavan in this position is actually pretty strong. Alright, let's see if I blew it. Not finding the land drop between the shark and the draw step is rough. This turns on the red blast anyway. Alright, perfect. They are not interested. So I'm going to put back Force of Will and maybe Spell Pierce. Or maybe just float a land on top in case I want it. Oh, Spell Pierce is starting to get a lot worse, but Snapcaster, protect it with Spell Pierce is a pretty good play, but what does Spell Pierce do that Pyroblast doesn't in this matchup? So, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna be on Team Pyroblast. I guess the thing that Spell Pierce does that Pyroblast doesn't is get cast off of an island. So that's actually a pretty big deal. And I'm not gonna attack with this Shark. I'm gonna leave it back to protect from a dashed Ragavan. My job is not to cheese them for 20. It's to get complete control of the board and then win however I feel like. I just snapped off this Pyroblast. Oh, wow. So they just conceded to this Pyroblast, but I was just thinking that I should have let the Pyroblast or the Brainstorm resolve because I'm not clocking. I'm not going very quickly. I literally just turned down an attack that I could have made because my plan is to make this game last forever. And over the course of a game that lasts forever, beating up on their cantrips doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm worried about Delver, I'm worried about Murktide Regent, and Pyroblast answers those things. I think I'm supposed to just let this Brainstorm resolve settle in for a long game. However, my opponent clearly is over it, and they conceded, but I do think that play was not right based on the game that I've lined up for myself here. So, a little aggressive, paid off this time, but generally not the right play in this kind of deck. In a Delver deck where you're like, where if Pyroblasting Brainstorm means you get to hit for 6 another time, like, that's a great play, but not in the, they're at 21, I have a 1/1 and didn't even attack with it game. I'm on the draw here. Island Brainstorm is not as good as Island Ponder, because Ponder, if you don't see the land, you can shuffle. Brainstorm, if you don't see the land, you lose. But I am going to keep this hand. On the draw with a cantrip, I have interaction on turn 1. Not for this deck, I don't. Uh-oh. Well, this standstill just got a lot worse. This hand would have been great on the play, by the way. So if they play Thalia here, if they just cast Thalia with their mana, I'm probably in a lot of trouble. Because I want to get to my turn and Brainstorm and see the extra card, because finding the land drop, Dees, pay me. Alright, I'm disappointed there's one in play already, but glad I could get the second one out of here. Spell Pierce does not do much in this matchup. So I think I got a Brainstorm here, and I got a Brainstorm before I play Myth. It would be nice to get the Myth trigger, but that's just not how this game's going to go. And Standstill is not going to be part of my plan to win this game either. Like, if I can clear the Aether Vial at some point in the future, then Standstill becomes pretty great. But that does not appear to be what's going on here. Like, I needed to Fairy or Prismatic Ending. So they're vialing in Mom in response. Gonna need some help from Supreme Verdict on this one. This is why I just need a sweeper in the main deck. They have Rashad Port, Aether Vial, and Mother of Runes. They're doing everything they want to do here. If they had Thalia, I think it would be in play already. They could have Stoneforge Mystic, though, which is probably worse. This is much, much worse for me. They are vialing. Okay. I think we've lost this one. This is literally play draw. It was, can I answer a turn 1 Aether Vial or not? Force of Will wins this game because I get to jam Standstill and they don't have Aether Vial. On the play, I Spell Pierce the Aether Vial. and then untap and jam Standstill. But now it's Supreme Verdict or Bust. And Supreme Verdict doesn't even answer Kaldra. So I would need multiple answers to... Oh, hey. Busted technology. Get out of here. So here's the 61st card coming in clutch right now. It can bounce the Germ. This does not have color, so Mother of Runes can't protect from it. That's hot. Okay. We're suddenly taking on a new life in this game. And I want to wait until their turn to do this, because if they have Flicker Wisp, I don't want them to be able to reset the Cauldron yet. Alright, what do we got here? They're probably getting Wisp now if they don't have it already. Apparition, interesting. Don't think that's where I would have gone with it, but it's allowed. Right, so they're going to attack. I'm going to bounce the Germ. Now Cauldron Complete is sitting in play. Are they going to port me? If they port me, I think I make a 1/1 Shark. Or I can snap Brainstorm. That's way better. Yeah, I'm going to snap Brainstorm while the mana is here to do that. Snapcaster, Brainstorm. I'm going to draw for turn first. Uh-oh. Are they just slamming? Oh, Prelate. I should have responded to that. Okay. Yeah, they got me. I was like, are they just exiling my Snapcaster? Yeah, I fucked that up. That would have been a pretty easy thing to avoid. Whoops. Yeah. Missed a good play there, and I will be punished for it appropriately. Who needs Brainstorm? If I draw Supreme Verdict, I'm actually just still winning this game anyway, but giving up the chance to look at 3 cards and find one is unfortunate. I could make a 1/1 Shark in the end step right now, so I will. I'm just trying to push velocity forward. Just to find the Verdict. There's one card in my entire deck that matters right now. Cycling the Shark. Tundra, that's the second white source, so even through Rashadan Port. Ooh. Opponent. You just let me have that? Didn't even port me? What are they doing with all that mana? I should probably play my Tundra. Though if I draw Brainstorm off the Teferi trigger, I won't really want to do that. Okay. I'll just play Teferi. I'm going to send Vial back to their hand. Just reset that count. They can't replay it because of Prelate. They can put in Flicker Wisp. What are they flickering? Cauldron. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, their handful of secret 3-drops has been pretty brutal this game. Like, they had a number of things I knew about, and then, like, twice they blew me out with the mystery cards. That also just happened to be good against exactly what I was doing. But yeah, Cauldron comes back here. They get their monster. Not that I can block it effectively anyway, but they could give it Pro Blue and just crunch. Let's see if they care about Teferi. Or, alright, they do care about Teferi. Deal. I don't care about Teferi at this point. He did his job. They just tried to cast the Wraither Vial. So Wisp, Flicker, Wisp. So they're gonna play around. They're probably gonna flicker their Cauldron again to make sure that it can attack next turn. Okay, they're just doing the Wisp trick, sure. This plays around sweepers. Like, they'll always end up with a Flicker Wisp, even if I clear the board. Do I want to make a big Shark? Or do I want to just draw? Hey, back up to Fairy. That isn't super helpful here. It can bounce the actual Cauldron. Like, the equipment. It can't bounce the Germ this time, and bouncing the equipment's not great because they can just Stoneforge it back. But it does buy me a little bit of time here. I got plenty of lands now. Deck, you can stop hooking me up with those. Though, if they continue to dedicate Cauldron attacks to Teferi, this is buying all kinds of time. Alright, so here's Cauldron. They're attacking for lethal. Alright, so I'm gonna fetch. I'm gonna make a Shark. Might as well lean in on non-basics at this point. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If they activate Mother now and protect Sanctum Prelate, I think I can't win. So 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the correct thing to do. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, they have me dead for Xaxes here. Alright. Yeah, 1 mana short of activating Myth Realize to stay alive. Okay. Yeah, they got me. That game, missing that Brainstorm was a big deal, but they did do every single thing that they want to do in the entire world, exactly how they want to do it, so respect for that. So I like all of these cards for sure. Back to Basics is a maybe. Like, that usually depends on how the sideboard maps out, whether I end up with Back to Basics or not in a deck. Forced Negation is no. Dress Down's great. Myth Realized is pretty strong. Standstill is good if they don't have Vial, and it's terrible if they do. I can go a little thinner on Force of Will. I don't want to cut them all, because they do have some cards that I need to answer. Spell Pierce is pretty bad. I mean, it's good against Vial, but that's about it. I think I can shave Standstill a little bit. I like the Planeswalkers. Obviously, Swords of Plowshares is great. Shark Typhoon is solid. Ending is great. Do I just go off Spell Pierce entirely? I think that's a reasonable thing to do, actually. And I could go a little thinner. I think on the play, I'll shave another, or on the draw, I'll shave another Standstill for the Back to Basics, but right now I want to push my Standstill options. Alright, here's my deck. The second Supreme Verdict coming in is a huge relief. Like you saw that game, they are able to build this house of cards, literally, that lines up really well against everything except a sweeper. I would snap this hand off with 2 lands, but I don't think I can keep it with 1. This is a good one. I'm going to keep this and send one of the fetch lands to the bottom, because like the Hall of Heliod actually plays pretty well. We have a mid-game engine. We have the whole engine set up, just got to get that far. And Containment Priest answers Vial, which is the card I'm most concerned about in both decks. I'll just represent Spell Pierce, like, hey, remember last game when I Spell Pierced your Vial? Think about it for a second. Don't know if it worked, but I'll take it. So now that they did not cast Aether Vial, I don't need to hold up Containment Priest. Force Counterspell Shark. I don't think this is what I'm in the business of right now. I want some like Swords to Plowshares to check some boxes. Make sure I don't die to just a random creature here and there. Thalia, sure. There's Swords to Plowshares. That's one of the things I just said. So I can plow Thalia. So if they have Karakas as their land drop for turn, then I'll regret not removing Thalia. But if I just make a 1/1 Shark here and get to build the board, advance a little bit, yeah, like I would rather answer that thing than Thalia. So Kaldra is in exile right now. I'm going to get both basic planes, because I can get another island. Just going to get on board here and advance my board state with this cantripping creature. I can even work a Brainstorm in here. Yeah, so I Brainstorm, put back... Now that they have Wasteland, I think the Hall is kind of a pipe dream. So I'll put back Hall and Scalding Tarn. And then I'm gonna Swords to Plowshares, the Stoneforge Mystic, using all basic lands throughout. And I do think plowing Mystic is better than plowing the Kaldra once it's in play. I'll use the Shark to absorb 2 damage here. It's doing its job. At some point they'll Flicker Wisp it and it just won't matter anymore. Another one of those is kind of rough. Play a lot of answers, just gotta find them. Palace Jailer. Risky, risky, risky. So I can jam Palace Jailer, exile Stoneforge Mystic, and just hope to God they don't have a removal spell. Or I can ponder looking for a removal spell, and if I miss, I just get crushed. I'm gonna risk it for the biscuit here. Like, if they have Plow, we probably just lose. If they have Flicker Wisp, they get to attack, become the Monarch, but then my Jailer comes back. I have, like, right now this turn to dodge. Oh, right, that one too. Yep. Shit. Alright, so they're going to be the Monarch, but at least I'm not dying to Cauldra. Myth Realized represents a creature that can attack them. And they get their Stoneforge back too. Fuck. Yeah, I blew it. That was so risky and bad. I'm not going to lie. I forgot about Skyclave Apparition. That's not a card I can really forget about, but I did. So, behold. Alright, played that real bad. Shuffling, looking for removal. Null Rod. Does that help me? It really doesn't. Like, it stops the Sword of Fire and Ice, but it doesn't stop the Cauldra, which is what I'm actually losing to. Oh, right. It also costs 3. I could also... Oh, does Cauldra have Vig? No. Alright. I'm actually just gonna pass. Like, I think the world where they just elbow tap, attack me with everything, and then I Flash and Containment Priest, steal the Monarch, and miracle my way out of this game is a more likely one. Wow. They didn't fall for it at all. That was really well played. Right, Vial. I have Null Rod for that. Alright, Flash and Priest, shuffle my deck. I'm gonna get a Tundra, because they do have Port and Wasteland. Ouch. Alright, yeah. Skyclave Apparition was a complete blowout. I played this game poorly, and I deserve to lose it. And I'm going to. Like, just literally dead, right? Cauldra is too big to do anything against. Yeah, I messed this one up. So, lesson here, I'm going to concede this game, but the lesson here is that Standstill is not a deck where you can gamble. Like, I knew that. I knew better than to jam that Palace Jailer. I just got so excited at the blowout potential, and just, caution to the wind. But the risk reward, like, calculating how good the board state is if everything goes to plan versus how bad the board state is if things don't go to plan, it's just not even close. It's like a 6 out of 10 good and like a 9 out of 10 bad if they have it there. And it's just like, even if that went perfectly to plan, they just had nothing. I chump block Thalia. I still have to answer her the next turn, and I just get to, like, draw 2 cards for my trouble. Yeah, I should have pondered on that turn, looking for a different answer to Stoneforge Mystic or an answer to the Cauldra or something. Yeah. I just played fast and loose and got punished for it. I deserve to lose that. 3 and 2 is the final result with this deck, and I threw away both of our losses, which is a good place to be. And I would rather lose because it's my fault than lose because I just got unlucky or whatever. Which, if you really stop and think about it, which I say all the time on the channel, if you really stop and think and assess your decision making, there's a lot less luck in Magic than people like to blame on. So the lands game that we lost, we got cheesed out by Choke with Spell Pierce in hand. Just could have left up blue, chose not to. And then that Death and Taxes game, I played fast and loose. I just, like, made a play that's kind of good if it works, and utterly game-breaking if it doesn't, and it didn't. And we lost immediately as a result. And we had some pretty good plays, some good controlling situations along the way to get there. And I hope more lessons were learned in this league than not learned. Even the losses, lessons were learned in, of course. Like, just, you have to keep an eye on the plan, and the plan is don't lose. If you don't lose, you'll eventually win in almost every matchup. Lands is an exception, which we saw where we actually need to win that matchup, which is why the matchup's so bad, because this deck's really bad at winning. It's just really good at not losing. So remember what your role is. Remember to make sure you don't die first. You can usually clean up the board later, as long as you don't just like tap out and lose to some cheese in the early game, which is exactly how we lost both of the matches we lost. And after playing the League, I still think that Standstill, just the actual card Standstill, should not be a 4 of, even in dedicated Standstill decks. I just think the metagame is too hostile and too good at answering things. And this is currently a 61 card deck, so you could just, oop, it's gone, cut it. 3 Standstills in the list now. We're down to 60 cards. In playing 61 is kind of indefensible and constructed. Just the way that control decks lose is when their answers don't line up. And by playing more than the minimum deck size, you're just not going to line up even more often. Like that game that we were playing where it was like, I'm trying to cantrip to the 1 of Supreme Verdict. It's just one more card you have to get through to find that thing. The percentage is small, but it's non-zero, that you've reduced your ability to draw the card that really matters. I also think that this particular build of the deck is relying too much on counter spells. I cut 1. I did cut a Force of Negation for a dress down before I even started the League. But I think that having 2 Spell Pierce, 2 Counterspell, and 5 Forces in the main is too many, when a card like Prismatic Ending, which curves so well with Standstill, like imagine that round 1 against Death and Taxes again, where they go turn 1 Aether Vial, and I'm just like, Prismatic Ending your Aether Vial. And then, boom, the game, Standstill is on, and like having only Teferi and Counterspells as answers to things that can get under Standstill, like a card like Vial. Prismatic Ending was printed for us. Like, it is for the Standstill player. This is to catch whatever bullshit gets under your Standstill before you jam Standstill. I think this deck should have 2 or 3 of this card. Maybe even over Swords of Plowshares. Maybe just go like 3 and 3 total. Because the non-creature permanents are the ones that I'm really worried about. Like Chalice of the Void, Aether Vial. Those are the things that are going to beat us. Planeswalkers. Because we can't pressure them in combat. So I really like Prismatic Ending. And this deck was fun. I love Standstill. I do think it's as well positioned as it's been in a decade. Like, the printing of Shark Typhoon gives us so much juice. Just watch out for Saga, Urza Saga. We didn't play any Saga matchups, but don't get cheesed out by an Urza Saga. There's a lot more decks that can play without casting spells now than there were 3 months ago. So just respect that. And that's the deck. Thank you, Lube Taco, for submitting this. I did not play it perfectly, but the deck performed well when I was playing well. And even the games where I lost, you could see the line where I could have won. So thank you for supplying the list. Thank everyone else for watching it. Remember to like and subscribe the channel while you're here. I have YouTube membership and Patreon if you want to support the channel. And use the code BoshNRoll on TCG Player when you're shopping for cards, and that helps my channel as well. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.